The next roundtable is actually about data y sobre cómo los datos nos pueden ayudar a tener una cadena de suministro más inteligente y más eficiente. Así que ahora tengo el honor de presentar a nuestra siguiente moderadora, que es Malwine Steinbock, Director of Food Republik. And she will be moderating the next panel, and I will leave you to present all the panelists with you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Elvira. Yeah, it's really a pleasure to be here and to have the opportunity to learn about how we're actually measuring sustainability along the value chain of food. And we are going to be learning today with Andrew Shakman, CEO and President of Leanpath. Leanpath is a company dedicated to reducing food waste in commercial kitchens through innovative technology and data-driven insights. So, welcome with me, Andrew, to the stage.
Thank you.
José Peláez, he is the head of digital innovation at the Basque Culinary Center. There you are. A leading institution in Spain dedicated to culinary arts and gastronomy. And José is, here. Rich background in both technology and gastronomy, and he is helping to design more efficient processes. And then Jacques, you have just met Jacques. I'm very happy to welcome you also to this roundtable to talk about more AI and the solutions that you're offering. So, today we are going to talk about smart and sustainable supply chain with data. So I think we should first, just to set the conversation, define two concepts. One is sustainability, and the other one is smart and sustainable supply chains. So the first one is how can we use less resources or use the resources more efficiently to produce something. So a product, a menu, and how can we use less resources, less water, more local supply, less packaging, less waste. And then how can we collect the data of all these resources that actually go into a final product, into a final menu item, and how can we collect the data at the different stages of the value chain, so like a digital thread that is connected from the land to the plate, and how can we collect the data. So first of all, to get to know you a little bit, I would like to know the main sustainability topic that you're working on or that you feel most passionate about. So maybe, Andrew, let's start with you.
So I work on food waste.
Yes.
And am passionate about it because I really don't like it. So sort of the opposites. So Leanpath focuses on preventing wasted food in food service operations. And we focus on changing culture and helping culinarians understand what they're wasting in order to make changes to how they're working. And we do that by introducing daily measurement into their operations.
Very interesting. We will, dive into more depth. Jacques, what is the sustainability issue that you are most passionate or involved in at Tastewise?
So, rather than a trend, which I think there are experts here that know more than me, I'm more concerned about the activation of those trends. So we're really thinking, okay, we all define those big things, big names, but we need great companies that help us to really, how can we activate them on the consumer level, on the brand level, to make sure that we're doing that is happening, not just words in a dashboard.
Okay, very interesting. And José, you're really at the Basque. You work at many different parts of the value chain. So what is the topic that you feel most?
Well, I think that on the one hand, personally, in my daily life, the one I get most worried about or concerns me the most is waste, definitely. And in terms of what we are doing in our daily basis, I would say there's a concept that has been mentioned more than once through today and yesterday, and it's like there's no one-fits-all solution. So that's why I guess implementing or embedding in companies and in product design processes this eco-design approach that includes analyzing product life cycles and understanding each aspects of the context of a specific supply chain or a specific product, and designing for a more sustainable outcome, considering those particular aspects, is I think what we're most focused on.
Okay, very interesting. So I think before we go into the more sustainable design process, it would be interesting to understand how we actually collect the data along the value chain and how we leverage technology and AI to collect this data. And I would like to start with you, Jacques. You have already explained this a little bit, but I think it's very interesting to understand where you actually get the data and how you connect it.
So we get the data, everything that has a digital footprint, so everything that happens in the world we're connected with, and we're observing the world. So we're making sure that we don't get biased to asking what people are saying. You know, we all want to be healthy, but are we acting healthy? Rather, we're really looking at what people are actually doing. And then based on that, we make the insights out of it.
And how do you know what people are doing? Is it what they share on social media? Or
it's actually what they're actually doing, how they're consuming, what they're ordering in a restaurant, what they're cooking at home. So we really have a lot of points of information, and at the end, you know, I cannot analyze trillions of data points. I'm not able, my brain is not able. AI can.
Okay, just to be super precise, you collect information on menu items, what restaurants are cooking, on social media, or what would be the data entry points?
Our data source answers all the questions that you want to know about the consumer. So what, how, when, where, who, why. And at the end, the way that we do it is we connect to everything that is happening in food service. So really, what people are consuming in restaurants, food delivery, whatever you can get there. Everything that is consuming in home. So really looking at what people are really consuming, cooking at home. And we also look at sentiment in social media. Because social media connects a lot of things of the who is actually consuming those things. So we have trillions of data points, and we just create one data source out of it.
And do you do a specific lecture on sustainability aspects as well?
Very much. So first of all, it's very interesting because it's like sustainability is how the consumer defines it for us. Okay, it's very different how a scientist understands sustainability to what is important to the consumer and how they are driving sustainability. So the answer is yes. We actually track every single type of trend that exists in the world, from decarbonization to sustainability to health, anything that you can have. We have like thousands of claims that we're really tracking. But at the end, what we care is like really to help our customers to understand how the consumer is connecting to those different trends, if it's sustainability or something else. So, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Andrew, how do you collect the data? Yes, so, and how do you also make, I want to understand both the human part of data entry and also the automated or like technology part of the data entry.
Sure. So, whereas you're looking at the whole universe, I'm looking at a very specific KPI, which is what is being wasted. And that is a critical control point. If we can understand what's going into the garbage, we understand that represents our inefficiency. It's an empirical representation of our inefficiency. And so I view what goes into the garbage or the bin or compost not as waste, but as a set of ideas and opportunities for improvement. So we focus on that very specific data point in food service. And so that would be everything that's overproduced, spoiled, expired, trim waste, anything that's been dropped, burned, contaminated, plate waste, all of those things. The way we do that is through technology, and some of it involves machine vision to be able to recognize items, and some of it involves manual sort of intent, people expressing why they wasted something. Because one of the things that we've learned over working on this for over 20 years is that what you're wasting is less important than why you're wasting it. And you aren't going to fix a chicken waste problem, you're going to fix an overproduction problem. You're going to fix an inefficiency. And so we're getting both of those data points, so understanding what someone was thinking as well as what they wasted. Very
interesting. And how, like, just so that we have an image, like how does it work? Like I throw something into a bin, and then I say what I have wasted. But how do you connect this?
How do we do it?
Why is it?
Well, we ask them. We say,
Okay.
why do you think you're throwing it away? And we spent a lot of time coming up with some very simple answers that map back to an ontology of root causes, which is much broader. And so you're asking a question that someone in a kitchen can answer based on the knowledge they have, but which indicates the broader set of problems that may be implicated. And then a culinarian who looks at that data can then understand and work back to the actual root cause.
Okay, and José, how do you measure the environmental impact of culinary processes, and what is really the focus on the project that you're working on?
Yeah, well, there are different projects as different from them. We work in very different projects, very different use cases with different companies. So there's like no single way we do things. But some of the aspects that are taken into account, of course, are natural resource use, carbon footprint, soil acidification. I'm thinking of a specific project that we did with the pimienta espelette pepper, and other aspects. But we use, let's say, tools that are out there in the market available to collect that data, and to give another example, you mentioned something that is definitely a challenge, and is the quality of the data that a human input can provide, right? Because it is extremely difficult to collect reliable data and to make user-friendly the fact of typing something or doing an input. So, for instance, we've been developing a project to improve the way that local producers get to know to the markets, or communicate to the consumers what is being produced, like in real time, like to have a notion of seasonality. So we've been exploring on how to use voice messages in order to make them easier to, let's say, capture what is being produced in a given moment, and that is then translated by AI and models into data, into numbers. Right, so there are different ways to measure it.
And this specific project that you're talking about is about. Is it about understanding what is being produced to then prevent waste, or to use
it's actually aiming to increase awareness within local communities and small communities, mostly towns, on what is seasonality. What is being produced in a certain moment, and to change that mindset that what is in season in a specific region is not the same that is in season 100 or 200 kilometers away. So it is heavily dependent on the location. So the idea is to have more tools and more information available for the users on what's being produced. I don't know. 20 kilometers around, right? With the information that is provided by the producers themselves or the fishermen themselves. There's a gap in that part, right? Because markets don't always, or local, at least small and local markets, don't get to know and don't have a very precise track record of what is being produced in like every time, right?
And José, what is the scale of this collection? Is it a local trial, or are there any solutions that really connect on a larger scale?
So in this case, we're doing it with two local markets, small town markets. But some of the challenges that we find is that many organizations, they are doing their own efforts on, let's say, developing an application to inform their consumers. So there comes the interoperability of data challenge, which is a huge challenge. There are lots of sources of data from ERP systems, POS in businesses, or a local app from a market, but none of them speak to each other. So you don't have enough quality or enough amount of data to be able to develop those accurate probability models. That is what you said, which is AI at the end of the day. So, of course, the idea and the dream would be that all of this data is interoperable, is shared, but you have to start small, right? So in this case, we are piloting with 2 small markets, aiming to be able to, extrapolate, or be able to use this in other similar use cases.
Okay, then let's talk about the interoperability, how we connect all these different data silos. And maybe, Jacques, you can give us a vision of how to leverage or how you're leveraging AI to connect, because you're collecting already from different silos.
So I'll answer also, today we are creating agents that are experts on one data source and the other, and we create another agent that is an expert on connecting the data sources. That's something that you can really build AI models, and we do that for our clients. So we actually get multiple data sources, not only ours, and we're actually making sure that they get an AI model that you can really speed up. Again, AI is about the speed. Okay, I need to be able to speed up the process that you get your decisions to. Different use cases, I think, for example, this product innovation is a big one. Okay, it's about making sure that we're bringing accurate products to the market. Okay, it's like, do this product really the consumer wants it? But there are other ways. For example, I will take the example of food waste and food service. We are helping our clients to do innovation through food service. It sounds a little bit, not logic, because the market always does innovation in retail. But we have a lot of our clients that are doing innovation through food service. Why? Because they can go a lower scale. They start with 10 single locations, then they go with 100 single locations, then 1,000. It works. Then they go to retail, and then you're reducing waste substantially because you're not going to mass productions, okay? But there are other ways, right? There are other ways that AI can help. If you make your workflows more optimized with technology, it can be AI. AI is at the end of is a vehicle, okay? It's a mean. It's not the end. And for example, something that we're doing with the Basque Culinary Center is we're actually training students to work with AI tools. So we just finished this week a course with them that the students created concepts from beginning to end to 4 of our customers. Okay, and then the idea is that we are actually not only producing use case, but also the labor force that we have in the industry works in an efficient manner in order to decrease food waste, for example.
Very interesting. I think that's perfect to start talking about, how to integrate sustainability in the design processes of new products. This is exactly what you've been just talking about. So,
just a comment on interoperability. I think the challenge of getting systems to talk to one another is actually pretty simple. The complexity is that there are different data structures, and we don't all have the same reference points. So the idea of master data that one can look to as sort of definitive and be able to then sort of connect the dots between different systems is really complex. And I think this is an area where AI is going to have an impact with clustering, where if I have an item that I know is wasted pasta, and there's a manufacturer that makes that pasta, but I don't know the code number for that, and they don't know whatever identifier I have on my side, AI has the ability to do that soft sort of inference of being able to say, that's talking about pasta, and that sounds like pasta, and those might be the same things. And so I think there's an opportunity for some significant acceleration on interoperability through that sort of AI in that interstitial space between different systems.
So as an umbrella connecting the different silos, and this, what does that mean at the moment when you design like data collection? You have to open it up to be able to speak to each other. Is that a challenge, or is that an easy task?
Well, I think that there are a number of data silos that are out there. I mean, they're ubiquitous. Most data isn't as combined as it should be. And I think, at this point, we should be planning for integrated data. We should be looking for ways to be open. And in the case of food waste, I'm a big believer in being transparent and actually being quite, publishing your data, being quite comfortable with that. But I think you have to design for that. And up until this point, you have many, many, many systems that were never planned to have that kind of behavior. And so now there's a big uplift to try to get systems to be able to talk. In the same way, we once had software that ran on premise and didn't talk to the cloud. And so you might have a great integration, but you couldn't, it just wasn't online. And now most things are moving into the cloud, and now you can get them to talk. So I think all of these things are just maturation cycles. And
I also, if I can add something, I think it's not only about a technical issue, as you said, it's also a matter of ownership and openness. Because if someone comes and tells you, hey, I want to use your data, all the data of your clients because I want to do this and this and that, what are you going to say?
Well, I might encourage our clients to say yes, but whether they would say yes is a different matter.
Yeah, so, and actually yesterday I was thinking that AI is putting on the table a huge opportunity, for instance, to solve like these huge challenges. And I was thinking yesterday, like, what if there is an open repository of pilots that have been implemented in different geographies, right, on resource management, or solving any of the challenges that was being talked about yesterday regarding climate or energy efficiency. And an AI agent is capable of correlating different data points as type of geography, type of population that lives there, and how that pilot worked and what was the outcome, and is able maybe to, I don't know, suggest to another location that shares similar characteristics. Why don't you do this in your case? Why don't you implement this pilot at a regional level? I think that AI is going to be capable, or is capable of this approaching that somehow. So yeah, to think about.
Very interesting. So I think the last 4 minutes, there's a question.
Can I make a comment about AI in my own field, which maybe will be useful?
Yes, please do.
So I'm a structural biologist, which is we determine the shape of biological molecules. In my department, we have 3 people who won Nobel Prizes. That used to take 5 years to do, right? Lots of graduate students. Now I can press a button, and AlphaFold will solve that for me in a matter of seconds. Okay, why? Why? Is it because people got smarter? No, for 2 things, and I think it touches on what you guys were talking about. One is genomics databases, public databases. The second were all the structures that were solved over the last 50 years went to a public repository. The data was vetted. So 2 pieces of high quality data and lots of it, and then lots of GPUs, and then you have AI transforming a field. Nobody does certain things anymore, like in the fields we're talking about. There's certain things we're not going to do anymore just because, again, it's driven by high quality, transparent data. And I think that's the challenge in the food field and wherever there's commercial interests is.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Absolutely.
That actually really connects to this last issue. How do you leverage the data to actually help? And we have 2-3 minutes left, so maybe 1 minute each. But how do you leverage this data to actually help restaurants operate more sustainably from the design process? How do you help companies to innovate more successfully through the data that you're providing? So maybe let's start with you, Jacques, because we've been talking a lot about, or you've been talking about a lot of successful innovation. So how do you leverage this data to actually connect it to sustainable products?
I think that there was a good example there, but at the end, the way that we believe is that the consumer needs to be at the center of every decision, okay, in a click, like it was said a second ago. And if I may, I think that they have a lot of things to say about macro trends, etc. I think that the advantage of AI is that we are giving back time to you. That's advantage. Now, what you do with that time, it's also up to us. Okay, we're able to really create now 5 years to 1 click, as it was said now. So now we need to make sure that we're putting it in the right places. If it's to decrease food waste, if it's for a more sustainable world, if it's for whatever decision we make, and we need to utilize the technology also in a responsible manner. That's, I think, I said a lot of things before, so.
Yeah, perfect. Andrew.
So the way we see the data driving change very specifically, one, we learn what we're wasting, and then we have signals from that we're able to take into other parts of our business. So if we're routinely wasting something, we're going to change what we produce, we're going to change what's on our menu, we're going to change what we buy. And those are important adjustments that are immediately available to us. And then there's the ability to take those signals and move them up and down the supply chain. So moving up, we have the ability to say to a manufacturer, we don't want a 5-pound bag of frozen vegetables. We can't use that. We can use half a pound. And we're throwing away the other half of that bag or more every time. Downstream, we have the ability to actually understand food waste, not as waste, but as a valuable feedstock, and be able to signal, hey, this particular batch has more energy content and might be better for biogas production than a different one. So I think those signals move up and down the supply chain by understanding those elements.
Very interesting. José, I don't know what you wanted to say, but I know that you have very interesting projects regarding upcycling of side streams, so connected to what Andrew was saying.
Yeah, well, actually, we have a lot of open projects regarding upcycling, but let's say adding a gastronomic value to what is being considered residue or waste. But actually, I was thinking on that question because I wanted to tap into something that is important. When it comes to companies and helping companies with product design, I guess you mentioned what I was thinking of, and it is combining user-centric approaches, definitely user-centric approaches with all these eco-design principles. And when it comes to restaurants, and I guess you're gonna agree with this. I don't know. Let me know if you wanna introduce tools or whatever to make restaurants or food services more sustainable. It has to have a clear return on investment. It has to be a clear saving on time or on resources or increasing sales or a tangible benefit of that type for the restaurant managers. And I would say that nowadays the majority of the food service owners and managers are not deciding to be more sustainable because it's better for the planet. That's the truth.
Yeah.
They are running businesses, and that's the way they orient their decisions nowadays. Either that or because law imposes that they have to measure, to classify, or to something else. So that's important to take into account. I don't know what you think.
I agree with you. I think financial motives are paramount. I do think, though, increasingly people want to tell and actually live a sustainable story. And I'm heartened by the amount of, I think, genuine activity around doing the right thing for people and planet that's resonant. But you can't underwrite to that. You underwrite to a financial ROI.
Yeah. I think what I just learned from you, from this discussion, is that there are different aspects also to sustainability, like time, financials, that we have to take into the equation, and the data and AI really can help us to design more efficient processes and get to the result much faster. So, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. And
thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.